I can't believe you can be this confident, Karen, groaned Jane as she and her best friend/classmate entered the grocery store. We just passed the preliminary round, we can't be sure we'll really get the championship. Desi's undefeated for years. Plus ever since Mike became the president, the club improved a great deal. Even coach told us that himself. And you're in the team. The second speaker nonetheless. And that's supposed to win us a lot of points, was the sarcastic reply. Of course. Karen gasped in the response. You have to be more confident in yourself, Jay. You did great in the last match. You were a natural back there. If you joined the club earlier, I'm sure you'd be a more famous debater than my cousin or any other guy out there. I am confident in myself, but we can't be too confident against all the schools. Not to mention, there's still the SLI High. They were first runner-up last year. They could come up as finalists again and defeat us if we're not careful. We can never be sure until the match ends. Jane, what is going on with you? Karen stopped walking and looked at her best friend in the eyes. Where did all the fierceness you showed to those SLI blockheads last week, huh? You got scared when you saw them in the preliminary round? Really? Jane raised a brow. What? Just checking. She grinned. I know nothing could really scare you. Not even SLI's the mark. Are we really discussing this again? Fine. But I still believe we'll crush all of them. Especially them. Pouted the girl. Her best friend just gave her a stern look. Humph. And here, I thought you'd hate SLI after you made Davy Boy apologize the other day. That's our first defeat against them. Who's defeated? Jane raised a brow again, a sly smirk on her lips. Karen just stared at her friend's back, heading for the drinks area. Jane had something on her sleeves again. She grinned. Not long after, Jane held 2 brands of pineapple juice in boxes, struggling to choose between the two. Car, you're the one who usually buys the snacks, what will the guys want? I prefer this brand, said a male voice as a hand took the box in her right hand from behind her. What the? Jane immediately spun around, only to bump into a very masculine chest. When she regained from shock, her light pink eyes met sparkling light blue ones. And kind of familiar too. You were really chivalrous earlier, JJ. I'd like to give my thanks, and maybe have a little chat. Mark whispered softly. Their faces inches apart. There's no need to. The gal answered coldly. I wasn't complimenting or anything. Right. He leaned in closer. What do you want? Surprisingly, Jane was not at all bothered by the closeness, and even stared at him straight in the eyes, hard. I told you, I want to thank you. Mark rested his hands on either side of her head and turned his eyes to her lips. I told you, it's not needed.